Ronald Reagan always said the most terrifying words in the English language are "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." Those words were true then and they are true now. In Los Angeles, they passed a mandated hero pay that will add up to about $0 an hour for some grocery store workers in Los Angeles. Grocers are closing 3 stores in response to newly enacted legislation that requires them to pay their workers an additional $5 an hour during the pandemic. It's never our desire to close a store, but when you factor in the increased costs of operating during COVID-19, consistent financial losses at these 3 locations, and an extra pay mandate that will cost nearly $20 million over the next 120 days, it becomes impossible to operate these 3 stores, said grocery store chain Kroger in a statement announcing that 2 Ralph's branded stores and 1 Food 4 Less location would be shutting down. As soon as the mandate was passed, the people who actually know how economics work knew this was a recipe for disaster. There is a reason businesses prosper in states like Texas and Florida and not in California. The government is always so gracious when it comes to spending other people's money, but they never think of the long-term consequences of their spending. Most grocery stores barely make a profit since the profit margin in grocery stores is already slim. Minimum wage jobs were never meant to make a living off of, they were meant to be temporary jobs. Minimum wage jobs require minimum skills, which is why they pay minimum wages and vice versa. This isn't genius math, it's basic math. The closures come after the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors passed its COVID hero pay ordinance in late February. A near-identical $5 per hour hero pay law was passed by the Los Angeles City Council in early March. Grocers with over 300 employees nationwide, or which are publicly traded companies, and with at least 10 employees per store, are now required by the county to give their workers additional hazard pay for the next 120 days. The law only applies to stores that are at least 85,000 square feet and for whom food or drug retail makes up about 10% of their sales. These hazard pay laws have swept the West Coast over the past several months, followed closely by the announcement of store closures and lawsuits from grocers. Long Beach, California, was the first community to pass a $4 hero pay mandate in late January. There too, Kroger announced that it would be closing 2 other stores that the company says were already underperforming and which couldn't sustain the new pay hikes. The company also said it would be shutting down 3 underperforming stores in Seattle, Washington, in response to that city's hazard pay law. If you don't know by now, voting has consequences. California used to have a roaring economy before Gavin Newsom, who is Nancy Pelosi's nephew, came into office and implemented his socialist policies. The same people that ruined California by voting for Democrats want to move to Texas and turn it into a third world country. They were warned before implementing this law that this would cause mass layoffs, but they didn't care because they already have nice size offshore bank accounts.